Everybody wants to be seen. Everybody wants to be recognized, but not everybody's willing to work when no one's watching. Not everybody's willing to put in the hour, put in the pain, pay the price in the dark. See, when the lights are off, when the stadium is empty, when nobody's clapping, that's where greatness is born. You gotta grind in the dark because that's when champions are made. I'm talking about 4 a.m. mornings. I'm talking about saying a no to the party, the game, the fun, because your future depends on it. You don't become legendary with an audience. You become legendary in isolation. Lions don't need to announce their lions. When the sun rises, they show up and handle business. So I need you to do one thing: fall in love with the process, not the praise. Grind in silence, sacrifice in solitude, and one day, when the lights come on, the world will see what you built when they weren't looking. Grind in the dark, shine in the light. That's the blueprint. You see everybody clapping when the spotlight hits. Everybody want to post the success, the chains, the cars, the celebrations, but nobody want to show what it took to get there. Let me tell you something: greatness doesn't show up when the lights come on. Greatness is developed when the lights are off. That discipline you admire in champion, that consistency you see in winners, that fire, it was forged in the dark. Ain't no cameras down there. Ain't no audience. Ain't no followers watching. It's just you and the grind. That's the difference between you and the people who make it. They ain't waiting for someone to cheat. They ain't waiting for perk, whether they're putting in work when they're tired. They're showing up when their name ain't being called. They're training when their body's screaming a stop. You want discipline? You gotta earn it in isolation. That's where it starts. You say you want to be a champion, then you better learn to fall in love with being alone. You better be cool with waking up at 4 a.m. while everybody else is sleeping. You better be okay missing out on the club, the show, their fun, because you got something greater you're chasing. You got dreams on the line. You got a name to build. And that name won't be built with excuses. That name won't be built if you're only working when people are looking. Discipline means showing up regardless of how you feel, regardless of who notices, regardless of whether it's paying off yet. You gotta trust that the work you do in the dark will shine later. That's what separates the average from the legendary. The average works when they feel like it. The legendary, they grind like it's life or death, every day. See, when the lights are off and the stadium's empty, that's when the real players are training. That's when the future champions are preparing. That's when the beast is being built. Not when they win the trophy, not when the crowd is screaming, but when it's just them alone putting in those quiet reps. No music, no motivation video, just heart, just hunger. You want discipline? Start doing what needs to be done without being told, without someone reminding you, without a coach yelling in your ear, without a scoreboard. You gotta be your own alarm clock, your own motivator, your own accountability partner. That's how discipline is born in the moments when quitting feels easy, but you choose to keep going. When everybody's sleeping, you work. When everybody's out having fun, you grind. And then when you're exhausted and your body's aching, you push through because you understand. It's not about how you feel in the moment. It's about what you want in your future. It's about legacy. It's about that vision you saw when you were broke, when you were down, when nobody believed in you. Discipline means holding on to that vision, like your life depends on it. Nobody sees the mornings when your eyes burn from lack of sleep. Nobody sees you skipping meals because you're busy building your dream. Nobody sees the notes you're studying, the books you're reading, the reps you're doing. No one else is in the gym. But you know, and one day, the results will speak louder than any words ever could. You're not gonna rise to the top because you're talented. Huh? Talent might get you in the door, but only discipline will keep you there. Talent fades, motivation dies. But discipline, that's permanent. If you choose it to be, it becomes your default. It becomes who you are. And when you get that, when it becomes second nature to do the work, even when you don't feel like it, that's when the magic happens. Everybody wants the glory, but nobody wants the grind. They want to shine, but skip the shadows. But hear me loud, it's in the dark that diamonds are formed. It's in the pressure, in the silence, in the struggle. And if you can endure that, if you can stay locked in when nobody's cheering you on, when nobody's reposting your story, when nobody's giving you credit, you'll come out unstoppable. You say you want it, you say you're hungry. But I'm looking at your life and I don't see the sacrifice. I hear the talk, I hear the goals, I hear the dreams, but dreams don't work unless you do. Everybody wants to shine. Everybody wants to be successful, but they forget the price. They forget the grind. They forget the hours, the sweat, the tears. Let me tell you something. You cannot have success without sacrifice. You can't have comfort and greatness at the same time. You're gonna have to choose. You're gonna have to say no to some things now so you can say yes to bigger things later. That party, that's not gonna take you closer to your dream. That extra hour of sleep, that's not gonna put money in your pocket. That relationship that's draining your energy, that's not pushing you forward. You gotta cut it off. You gotta let it go. Look, sacrifice isn't supposed to feel good. It's not supposed to be easy. It's not sexy. It's not fun, but it's necessary. You think Kobe wanted to wake up at 4 a.m. every day? You think Serena wanted to hit thousands of tennis balls when everyone else was relaxing? You think successful people felt like making those sacrifices? No, but they did it anyway because they understood this is the price of greatness. You're trying to shine without doing the dirty work. You're trying to post wins without paying the cost. That's not how this works. You gotta bleed for this. You gotta cry for this. You gotta cry for this. You gotta say no to now so you can say yes to later. That's what sacrifice is. It's turning your back on temporary pleasure because you're focused on permanent results. I remember sleeping in abandoned buildings, eating out of trash cans, wearing the same clothes for days. I wasn't doing that for fun. I wasn't doing that to impress anybody. I was doing that because I had a vision. I knew where I was going and I knew it would hurt. But I also knew I wouldn't have to hurt forever. That's the key. Temporary pain for long-term purpose. You got it twisted. You think sacrifice is loss, but sacrifice is the bridge. It's the cost of the ticket. If you're not willing to sacrifice now, don't expect to sit at the winner's table later. You can't play games and get results. You can't give 50% and expect a 100% return. This isn't a lottery. This is life. And life rewards the discipline. Life rewards the focused. Life rewards the ones who gave it everything when it didn't even make sense. I need you to understand something deep. The world is not gonna hand you anything. You're not owed success. You're not owed opportunity. You earn it. You earn it. Every minute you spend goofing off. Every second you waste chasing distraction. That's time you could be investing. That's time you could be building. Time you could be planting seeds. And guess what? You don't eat the fruit in the same season you plant the seed. Sacrifice means you gotta wait. You gotta trust the process. You gotta grind even when you don't see the reward right away. But here's the beauty of it. When you sacrifice now, when you put in the work while everybody else is slacking off, you separate yourself, you elevate, you rise, and eventually the shine shows up, and they'll look at you like you came out of nowhere, like it happened overnight. But you paid the price in private so you can shine in public. Stop asking, why isn't it happening yet? And start asking, what else do I need to let go of? And some of y'all are carrying dead weight. You're trying to run towards your future, dragging your past. You're holding on to habits, to people, to routines that do nothing for you. It's time to make a decision. Do you want the dream or do you want the distraction? Do you want the promise or do you want the promise or do you want the party? You gotta be okay with being misunderstood. You gotta be okay with being alone. You gotta be okay with missing out now. Because when your time comes, you won't miss anything. When the shine shows up, when the lights hit, when the platform is yours, you'll know it was worth it. Every lonely night, every sacrifice, every tear, all of it. I'm not telling you to suffer for no reason. I'm telling you there's a reason. And if you stay the course, if you grind through the hard parts, the results will speak. The results will shout. The results will be undeniable. But only if you're willing to pay the price now. Sacrifice now so you can shine later. Everybody wants the applause. Everybody wants to hear the crowd chant their name, see the comment, the lights, the trophies, the spotlight. But let me tell you something real. It's not the applause that builds you. It's the process. What you do when the crowd is gone. It's what you do when no one's clapping. Because if you're only grinding when people are watching, if you only show up when it feels good, then you don't want it bad enough. You don't want greatness. You just want attention. You got to stop chasing validation and start chasing excellence. You got to fall in love with the grind. You got to learn to enjoy the work. I'm talking about the early mornings when nobody texts you a good job. I'm talking about the late nights when you're sore, tired, and there's no one to congratulate you. I'm talking about studying until your eyes hurt. Practicing until your hands bleed. Hustling until your body says a quit and your spirit answers back. Keep going. That's the process. That's where growth lies. Too many people quit because they don't see immediate results. Too many people give up because nobody noticed their effort. But what they don't understand is that the process is the reward. The process is where you build character. It's where you build mental toughness. It's where you learn who you really are when the claps go silent. It's in the process that you find your edge. That hunger, that fire. Don't fall in love with being seen. Fall in love with becoming something. Fall in love with mastering your craft. Fall in love with repetition. Fall in love with the boring stuff. Because that's where champions are made. You see the stage, the glory, the highlight, real. But you didn't see the hours they put in when nobody cared. You didn't see the tears, the losses, the doubts. You didn't see the process. If your motivation comes from outside, it's going to disappear the moment the noise fades. But when your drop comes from within, when your love for the grind is real, you become unstoppable. Because now you're not working for approval. You're working because this is who you are. This is your standard. This is your mission. I didn't get here because people believed in me. I got here because I believed in the process. I love the pain that came with building something real. I love the loneliness, the silence, the nights nobody saw. Because I knew deep down if I could push through those moments, nothing would break me. Nothing could stop me. See, the process teaches you discipline. It teaches you consistency. It teaches you how to show up regardless of how you feel. Some days you're going to feel tired. Some days you're going to feel like quitting. Some days nobody's going to support you. And on those days, the only thing that'll keep you going is the process, the habit, the commitment. You don't need a stage to prove who you are. The real ones grind in the shadow. The real ones don't need applause to validate their work. They don't need followers to fuel their passion. They show up day after day and execute because they're in love with what they're building. Because they've seen the vision. Because they know what's coming if they just stay consistent. You got to get to a place where you don't care who's watching, where the only thing that matters is that you're getting better, that you're putting in the reps, that you're closing the gap between who you are and who you know you can be. When you fall in love with that journey, with that daily grind, that's when you unlock your true potential. Most people get distracted by applause. They let praise become a drug. The moment it disappears, they lose motivation. They lose motivation. They lose direction. But you got to be different. You got to be the one who claps for yourself. You got to be the one who wakes up with purpose, whether or not anybody sees you. Because when you love the process, the results will come. The applause will come. But it won't matter anymore because you already know who you are. You're not here to be like Keith. You're here to be great. You're not here to impress. You're here to evolve. And that only happens in the grind. That only happens in the discipline of daily effort, every rep, every choice, every second spent sharpening your E. That is the work that will make you legendary. Not the moment they hand you the trophy, not the viral moment. The work, the process. So don't ask, when will they notice me? Ask, how can I go deeper into my purpose today? Don't ask, when will they clap? Ask, how can I improve? Because once you master the process, once you fall in love with the daily grind, you'll never need the applause again. You'll shine because you built yourself. And that shine can't be taken away. You got goals, you got dreams. Hey, that's great. But let me ask you something. Does your grind match your goals? See, it's one thing to say you want something. It's a whole other thing to live like it. A whole other thing to wake up every single day and go get it like your life depends on it. Because a lot of you out here got big dreams with small effort. You talk big, but grind small. And that don't work. That don't cut it. Not in the real world. You say you want to be successful. You say you want to be the best. You say you want to be the first millionaire in your family. You want to get out the hood. You want to change your last name. But your work ethic don't reflect that. Your actions don't line up with your words. And that's the disconnect. That's why you're frustrated. That's why you feel stuck. That's why you feel stuck, because your goals are strong, You can't have a championship dream with a recreational hustle. No, can't say you want to be elite and then act average. You can't say, I'm going to be a legend, and then press snooze 3 times before you even get out the bed. The grind has to be greater than the goal. The grind is what turns your vision into reality. It's the bridge. It's the engine. You can't get there without it. You want to be a CEO, but you operate like an intern. You want to be empire, but show up late, you miss days. You quit when it gets hard. That's not how this works. You want the top floor, but you skipping stairs. You got to earn it. You got to hustle for it. You got to sacrifice. You got to bleed. You got to want it so bad that it consumes you. You breathe it. You live it. You fight for it. Nobody's going to give you the dream. Nobody's going to hand it over. You got to go get it. You got to take it. And that takes grind. That takes 4 a.m. wake-ups, 18-hour days, no days off mentality. That takes consistency when you're tired. That takes focus when you're tempted to quit. That takes heart when your body says a no, because the goal doesn't care how you feel. The goal ain't gonna lower itself to meet your laziness. You gotta rise. Let me say this. You don't get to complain about the results you didn't get from the work you didn't do. You don't get to cry about being broke if you're not grinding. You don't get to be jealous of the successful when you've been taking shortcuts. If you want what they got, you gotta do what they did and then some. You gotta put in the work when nobody's watching. When it's raining, when it's hard, when you feel like quitting. The grind doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care about your past. All it knows is effort. All it sees is hustle. And if you match your grind to the size of your dream, now you dangerous. Now you a threat. Now you got momentum. And once you get momentum, now you can't be stopped. You got to start looking in the mirror and asking yourself, is what I'm doing right now moving me closer to my goal? If the answer is no, then stop doing it. If it's not feeding your dream, it's draining. You got to eliminate distraction. You got to eliminate distractions. You got to shut out the noise. You got to cut off the time wasters, the energy drainers, the ones who don't see what you see. You on a mission. You ain't got time to be casual. Casual. They thought it would come quick. They thought it would be easy. And when it wasn't, they folded. But the greats, they lean in. They embrace the grind. They get stronger with every challenge. They keep swinging, keep pushing, keep showing up. Not because it's easy, but because they refuse to quit. Because they know the grind is the only way to get there. So if you want to reach your goal, match it. Match the size of your hustle to the size of your vision. If you got a $10 million dream, you can't have a $10 work ethic. If you got a goal to change your family tree, you can't keep doing what your family's always done. You got to break the pattern. You got to set a new standard. And that takes grind. You can't be half in. You can't be part-time. This is full-time commitment. This is full-time focus. This is 100% dedication. And when you live like that, when your grind finally catches up with your goals, the results show up. The light shines, the doors open. And all that effort, all that pain, all that sacrifice, it pays off. But only if you were willing to grind for it. Everybody's got a dream. Everybody's got a vision for their life. You got people walking around saying, one day I'm gonna do this. Or one day I'll be successful. Or one day I'll start my business. Get that degree, write that book. Oh, but let me tell you something, dreams without discipline are just fantasies. That's the hard truth. That's the difference between people who talk and people who build. Between those who wish and those who win. The separator isn't talent. It's not money. It's not connections. Discipline. Discipline is showing up when you don't feel like it. Discipline is putting in the reps when your body's tired. Discipline is sticking to the plan when your emotions scream for comfort. See, dreamers love to talk about what they want. But doers, they grind for it. They sacrifice for it. They stay locked in, even when it's boring, even when it's hard, even when nobody's watching. That's what discipline is. It's doing what needs to be done whether you feel like it or not. Let me make this real clear. Motivation is great, but it's not enough. Motivation might get you started, but it won't keep you going because motivation fades. Some mornings you're not gonna feel inspired. Some nights you're not gonna be excited. Life is gonna hit, you're gonna face rejection, delays, disappointment. And when that happens, if all you've got is motivation, you'll quit. But if you've got discipline, you'll keep moving. You'll keep showing up. You'll keep grinding. Discipline means you get up at 4 a.m. not because it feels good, but because your goals demand it. Discipline means you say a no to the party, a no to the distraction, a no to the easy way out because you're focused on something bigger. Discipline means you stay consistent even when you're not getting results yet. Even when it seems like nobody notices, even when it hurts. Why? Because you made a decision, because you made a promise to yourself. And discipline is how you keep that promise. You want to know why some people win and others don't? It's not about how talented they are. It's not about how lucky they are. It's because winners are disciplined. They don't just talk about success. They live like they want it. They move like it's already theirs. They train like they're already at the top. They don't need applause to be great. They don't need permission. They don't need a crowd. They just go to work. I know people with big dreams who've been in the same place for years. Why? Because they lack discipline. They start and stop. They say this year will be different, but they keep making the same choices. They keep letting their feelings dictate their actions. And as long as your feelings are in control, your future will always be out of reach. You gotta flip the switch. You gotta tell your mind, we don't live by feeling. We live by purpose. Discipline isn't sexy, it's not flashy. You don't get praise for being disciplined, but it's the foundation. That's the foundation. It's what separates winners from wishers. Think about the greats Kobe, MJ, Serena, Elon, Oprah. You think they got to where they are just because they had talent? No, they were obsessed with the work. They mastered the art of discipline, and that discipline created freedom. It created opportunity. It created legacy. You want to reach the next level? You want to see your dream become reality? Then you got to become disciplined. You got to develop habits that align with your vision. You got to say, I don't care how I feel. I'm doing what I said I would do. You got to build that muscle every day. And every time you keep that promise to yourself, every time you push through the resistance, you become stronger. You become unbreakable. There's always going to be distractions, always going to be temptation, always going to be reasons to give up. But when you're disciplined, those things don't control you. You control them. You move with purpose. You live on mission. And that kind of focus, that kind of clarity, that's rare. That's powerful. That's what makes you unstoppable. So stop waiting for the right time. Stop waiting for the perfect move. Stop waiting for someone to tell you it's your turn. Your turn is now. But it only becomes real if you put in the work. Not once, not twice. Every single day, you show up, you execute, you grind. Not for the applause, not for the followers, but because you made a decision to be great. And you're gonna honor that decision with discipline. Discipline is the path. Discipline is the secret. Discipline is the key. You wanna turn your dream into a reality, you wanna cross the finish line, then you better wake up every morning and ask yourself, am I doing what I said I would do? Because in the end, it won't be your dream that defines you. It'll be your discipline. It'll be your discipline. People see the wins. They see the trophies. They see the followers, the interviews, the cars, the spotlight. They see the results. But what they don't see, what they never see are the hours. The countless hours you put in when no one was clapping. The work you did when no one believed in you. The nights you stayed up grinding while the world was sleeping. The sacrifices you made when no one noticed or cared. All they see is the outcome. But they weren't there for the journey. And that's the truth about greatness. It's invisible while it's being built. It's silent, it's lonely. You don't get applause for the 5 a.m. workouts. You don't get recognition for choosing the grind over the party. You don't get praise for staying focused while everybody else is playing. But that's where champions are made. Not in front of the cameras, not on the stage, but in the shadow, in the silence, in the grind. Everybody wants the success story, but they don't want the struggle chapter. Everybody wants to be a lion until it's time to do what lions do: hunt, bleed, fight, and dominate. You want to shine in public, then you better be willing to bleed in private. You better be willing to suffer in silence. You better be willing to pay the price that comes with the results you're chasing, because no one is going to give it to you. No one is going to clap for you when you're getting started. That's on you. The real ones know this. The real ones understand that the grind ain't pretty. It's repetitive. It's exhausting. It's frustrating. You question yourself. You wonder if it's even worth it. You look around and see people taking shortcuts, getting ahead by doing less, and for a second you might doubt your path, but don't. Don't you ever let what they show you make you forget what you're building. Because when it's your time, when your results show up, they'll ask how you did it. And you'll know you did it by showing up when they did. You gotta stop looking for validation. You gotta stop waiting for someone to notice your grind. Because they won't. Not at first. That's part of the process. The beginning is always quiet. You're doing the work and it feels like nothing's happening. You're putting in the hours and nobody's watching. But what they don't realize is that's when the most transformation is happening. That's when you're becoming the person who can handle the results you're working for. Results don't just happen. They're built brick by brick, rep by rep, day by day. And the majority of that work happens behind closed doors, in silence, without recognition, without applause. So stop waiting to be seen. Stop looking for likes and shares. Instead, build in the dark. Work like you're already who you say you are. Grind like the results are already promised. Because they are if you do the work. You don't get to skip the process. You don't get the reward without the investment. This ain't a microwave dream, it's a slow cook. That means patience. That means resilience. That means trusting your effort even when the results haven't shown up yet. Because they will. As long as you don't quit, as long as you keep moving, as long as you keep showing up and giving it your all when no one's watching, I need you to understand something. Your results will speak for you. You won't have to explain your grind. You won't have to convince people you're serious. Because when it's real, the world will see it. When the time is right, the results will reflect every hour you put in, every tear you shed, every temptation you resisted. But you gotta stay locked in long enough for that moment to arrive. You gotta stop being addicted to being seen. Stop looking for shortcuts. Stop comparing your day one to someone else's day 1,000. You're not in a race with them. You're in a race with you. You're in a race with you. And the only way you win is by mastering your routine, by falling in love with the process, by grinding when it's dark so that one day you can shine in the light. Because when your moment comes, and it will come, every second of sweat, every lonely rep, every quiet hour of work will have been worth it. The people will see the results and say it happened overnight. But you'll know the truth. You'll know it took years of discipline, sacrifice, and commitment. You'll know what you gave up to get there. You'll know how you earned it. So keep going. Keep grinding in the dark. Keep putting in the hours nobody sees. Because when the lights come on, when the doors open, when the world finally sees the results, they won't understand how you did it, but you will. You'll know you earned every bit of it, and that will matter more than any applause ever could. Everybody wants to post. Everybody wants to talk about what they're about to do. I'm about to start my business. I'm about to hit the gym hard this year. I'm about to change my life. Success doesn't come from announcements. Success doesn't come from announcements. It comes from announcements. It comes from execution. You don't have to tell the world what you're going to do. You just have to do it. Stop announcing and start delivering. Some of y'all spend more time talking about your plans than working on them. Working on them. More time making graphics, writing captions, crafting the perfect status update than you do actually getting up, getting focused, and doing the work. And you wonder why nothing's changing. You wonder why the vision's still just a dream. Because you're out here marketing a product you haven't even built yet. You want credit for an outcome that hasn't been earned. That's not how it works. You want people to take you seriously? Show them. Show them through your consistency. Show them through your habits. Show them through your habits. Show them through your results. Let the fruit speak for the tree. Let your actions echo louder than your words ever could. Because when you really locked in, you don't need to announce it. People can feel it. They see it in the way you move, the way you work, the way you grind in silence while everyone else is still posting. The truth is, silence is powerful. Silence is where the real growth happens. When you stop talking and start moving, when you stop broadcasting and start building, that's when you level up. That's when you level up. That's when you start catching momentum. That's when your grind becomes undeniable. But as long as you keep needing applause to stay motivated, you're not doing it for the right reason. You're chasing validation, not transformation. Real dogs don't bark, they bite. Lions don't have to roar all day to remind you they're kings. They walk different. They carry themselves different. You don't see them begging for attention. They command it. Not because they said something, but because they did something. That's how you move when you're about your business. You don't need the spotlight. You become the light through your effort, your discipline, and your delivery. See, when you talk too much about your plans, two things happen. First, you create pressure you're not ready for. People start watching to see if you actually follow through, and if you don't, now your credibility's gone. You told the world, watch me, and then gave them nothing to see. And second, all that talk can trick your brain into thinking you're making progress. But thinking about success is not the same as chasing it. Talking about the dream doesn't get you any closer. Only work moves the needle. You don't need to tell anybody what you're about to do. You don't need to explain your grind. You just need to grind. You just need to stay low, stay focused, and when the time is right, let your results walk in the room before you do. Let your results speak on your behalf. That's power. That's impact. That's how legacies are built, not through announcements, but through action. You gotta fall in love with the process, not the praise. The grind, not the glory. Because the ones who make it to the top, they're not chasing attention, they're chasing excellence. They're chasing excellence. Care who's watching. They don't need an audience to work hard. They work because that's who they are. Because they made a decision to be great, and they honor that decision every single day, with or without a witness. The grind doesn't need a crowd. The work doesn't need a camera. The mission doesn't need an announcement. It just needs you. Committed, focused, hungry. And if you stay in that zone long enough, the results will come. The breakthroughs will happen. The success will speak for itself. People will look at you and say, where did you come from? And you'll smile because you know you've been working in the dark the whole time. You've been delivering while they were distracted. So stop trying to impress people with your intention. Impress them with your execution. Don't tell us you're going to be a beast. Be one. Don't say you're going to change the game. Change it. Don't post about your comeback. Make it happen. Let your hustle be your noise. Let your delivery be your declaration. Because at the end of the day, the world doesn't remember what you say you were going to do. It remembers what you did. Not the plans, not the promises, the product, the proof. So get to work. Stay low, stay humble, stay dangerous. And when you finally show up, they won't need an announcement. The results will say it all. Everybody wants to post. Everybody wants to talk about what they're about to do. I'm about to start my business. I'm about to hit the gym hard this year. I'm about to change my life. But let me tell you something. Success doesn't come from announcements. It comes from execution. You don't have to tell the world what you're going to do, you're going to do. Just have to do it. Stop announcing and start delivering. Some of y'all spend more time talking about your plans than working on them. More time making graphics, writing captions, crafting a perfect status update than you do actually getting up, getting focused, and doing the work. And you wonder why nothing's changing. You wonder why the vision's still just a dream. Oh, because you're out here marketing a product you haven't even built yet. You want credit for an outcome that hasn't been earned. That's not how it works. You want people to take you seriously? Show them. Show them through your consistency. Show them through your habits. Show them through your results. Let the fruit speak for the tree. Let your actions echo louder than your words ever could. Because when you're really locked in, you don't need to announce it. People can feel it. They see it in the way you move, the way you work, the way you grind in silence while everyone else is still posting. The truth is, silence is powerful. Silence is where the real growth happens. When you stop talking and start moving, when you stop broadcasting and start building, that's when you level up. That's when you start catching momentum. That's when your grind becomes undeniable. But as long as you keep needing applause to stay motivated, you're not doing it for the right reason. You're chasing validation, not transformation. Real dogs don't bark, they bite. Lions don't have to roar all day to remind you they're kings. They walk different. They carry themselves different. You don't see them begging for attention. They command it. Not because they said something, but because they did something. That's how you move when you're about your business. You don't need the spotlight. You become the light through your effort, your discipline, and your delivery. See, when you talk too much about your plans, two things happen. First, you create pressure you're not ready for. People start watching to see if you actually follow through. And if you don't, now your credibility's gone. You told the world, oh, watch me, and then gave them nothing to see. And second, all that talk can trick your brain into thinking you're making progress. But thinking about success is not the same as chasing it. Talking about the dream doesn't get you any closer. Only work moves the needle. You don't need to tell anybody what you're about to do. You don't need to explain your grind. You just need to grind. You just need to stay low, stay focused, and when the time is right, let your results walk in the room before you do. Let your results speak on your behalf. That's power, that's impact. That's how legacies are built. Not through announcements, but through action. You gotta fall in love with the process, not the praise. The grind, not the glory. Because the ones who make it to the top, they're not chasing attention. They chasing excellence. They chasing excellence. They don't care who's watching. They don't need an audience to work hard. They work because that's who they are. Because they made a decision to be great. And they honor that decision every single day, with or without a witness. The grind doesn't need a crowd. The work doesn't need a camera. The mission doesn't need an announcement. It just needs you committed, focused, hungry. And if you stay in that zone long enough, the results will come. The breakthroughs will happen. The success will speak for itself. People will look at you and say, oh, where did you come from? And you'll smile because you know you've been working in the dark the whole time. You've been delivering while they were distracted. Stop trying to impress people with your intention. Impress them with your execution. Don't tell us you're gonna be a beast. Be one. Don't say you're going to change the game. Change it. Don't post about your comeback. Make it happen. Let your hustle be your noise. Let your delivery be your declaration. Because at the end of the day, the world doesn't remember what you said you were going to do. It remembers what you did. Not the plans, not the promises, the product, the proof. So get to work, stay low, stay humble, stay dangerous. And when you finally show up, they won't need an announcement. The results will say it all. Nobody wants to struggle. Nobody wakes up and says, I want pain, I want difficulty, I want obstacles. But let me tell you something. Struggle is not your enemy. Struggle is your teacher. Struggle is the furnace that forges greatness. It's the fire that melts away weakness and builds strength. Strength. If you want to be strong, if you want to be successful, if you want to be legendary, you have to embrace the struggle, not run from it. Every champion you admire has a story full of struggle. You think the winners don't have problems. You think they didn't face setbacks? No. What sets them apart is they didn't let the struggle break them. They let the struggle make them. They used every failure, every disappointment, every no as fuel. They turned pain into power. That's the mindset you got to develop if you want to win. When you're in the middle of your struggle, it feels like the end. It feels like the world is against you. It feels like you're the only one fighting. But the truth is, the struggle is the pathway to strength. It's the process that teaches you resilience, discipline, and patience. It shows you what you're really made of. You learn when everything else is stripped away. And if you give up, if you quit, if you run away, you'll never know how strong you could have been. Struggle is the test. It's the test of your commitment, your heart, your faith in yourself. When the struggle hits, and it will hit, you have two choices. You fold or you fight. You let it defeat you or you let it develop you. You let it crush your spirit or you let it crush your doubts. The choice is yours. But if you want to be great, you must choose to fight. You must choose to rise. Because strength doesn't come from comfort. Strength comes from challenge. I want you to think about the hardest times in your life. Think about the moments you felt weak, broken, and alone. Those moments shaped you. They made you tougher. They gave you a chance to prove that you're not just a product of your environment, but a product of your mindset. You either let the struggle destroy you or you let it define you. You either become a victim of your circumstances or a victor over them. Struggle also teaches patience. It forces you to slow down, to understand that success is not instant. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. Every day you wake up and keep going. Every time you push through pain, every time you refuse to quit, you're building endurance. You're building strength that lasts. You're building a foundation that can hold up under pressure. Because when the easy times come, you want to be ready. You want to be strong enough to handle the success without losing yourself. Too many people run from struggle because they think it means failure. But failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. Failure is the teacher that shows you what doesn't work so you can find what does. You never struggle, you never grow. If you never fall, you never learn to get back up. If you never experience pain, you never appreciate joy. The struggle builds strength in your character, your confidence, and your courage. The stronger you become through struggle, the more you can handle, the more you can endure, the more you can achieve. You will face hard days, setbacks, losses, and disappointments. But those are not the end of your story. They are the beginning of your strength. Every time you face a challenge and overcome it, you add a layer of resilience. You add muscle to your mind and spirit. You get closer to the person you're meant to be. You've got to start seeing struggle differently. Stop viewing it as a punishment or a problem. See it as an opportunity. See it as the process of becoming better, the process of getting stronger, the process of building a legacy. When you accept struggle as part of the journey, you stop wasting energy fighting it. Instead, you focus on growing through it. You focus on learning from it. You focus on becoming more disciplined, more focused, more determined. And here's the truth. Strength earned through struggle is unshakable. When you build your foundation on the hard lessons learned in the struggle, nothing can break you. Not criticism, not failure, not doubt. Because you've been through the fire and come out the other side stronger, wiser, and more unstoppable than ever. That's real strength. That's the kind of strength that changes lives. So don't run from the struggle. Don't wish it away. Don't pretend it's not happening. Face it head on. Use it to build the strength you need to reach your dreams. Use it to prove to yourself that you're more than your circumstances. Yeah, you're more than your circumstances. Because when you embrace the struggle, you don't just survive. You don't just get through it, you grow through it. And that's how greatness. The truth is, people are always going to have opinions about you, about your goals, your dreams, your grind. They'll talk, they'll judge, they'll doubt. Some will even try to discourage you. But here's the deal. Their opinions don't define your destiny. Your journey is yours alone. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you free yourself to move forward without the weight of their judgment holding you back. Too many people get stuck trying to please others. They want approval from family, friends, society. They worry about what people will say if they fail or if they take a different path. But when you live your life based on other people's opinion, you're giving away your power. You're letting them control your story. And that's the fastest way to never reach your potential. No, you have to learn to focus on your journey and not on what other people think. Because the truth is, most people don't even know what your journey looks like. They don't understand the work you're putting in behind the scenes. They don't see the sacrifices. They don't hear the hours of hustle when no one's watching. So their opinions are often based on limited information, jealousy, fear, or misunderstanding. That's why it doesn't matter what they say. What matters is what you do. When you focus on your journey, you own your path. You control your narrative. You decide what success means to you and how you're going to get there. You set your standards and live by them. You stop comparing yourself to others and start competing with the person you were yesterday. You stop worrying about the noise and start listening to your purpose. Listening to opinions can be helpful if it comes from people who want to see you win and give you honest feedback. But it becomes toxic when it stops you from moving forward. The moment you let someone else's doubt plant a seed of fear in your mind, you give up a little bit of your greatness. And greatness is not for the people who play small because of other people's opinions. Greatness is for the ones who stay locked in on their vision no matter what anyone else says. You have to develop thick skin. You have to learn to filter the noise. You have to protect your energy. There will always be critics, naysayers, and haters. They don't matter. What matters is your faith in yourself. What matters is your belief in your dream. The more you focus on your journey, the less those opinions will penetrate your confidence, the less they will slow you down. Remember, some of the greatest people in history were doubted. They were told they couldn't. They were laughed at. But they didn't stop. They stayed focused. They believed in their vision so much that the opinions of others became irrelevant. And now their legacy speaks louder than any criticism ever could. You're going to get distracted by what people think if you let it. But the question is, will you let it? Will you allow their opinions to derail your progress, or will you stay focused, keep grinding, and keep moving forward? The choice is yours. So every step you take towards your dream is a step away from the doubts and opinions that try to hold you back. Focus on your journey. Put your head down and work. Celebrate your small wins. Learn from your setbacks. Keep your eyes on your goals. Let your actions be louder than their words. Because when you do that, you create unstoppable momentum. You create a force that can't be shaken by negativity or criticism. And when you finally reach your destination, when you achieve the success you've been grinding for, it won't matter what anyone thought along the way. Because you'll know you did it your way. You'll know you stayed true to your path. So you'll know you focused on your journey instead of their opinions. And that's the real victory.